بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, thanks all to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I have this blessing to be amongst you discussing the holy verses of Quran and the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhim wassalam, and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the blessing of the shrines of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam and the holy land of Karbala to hasten the appearance of our beloved Imam Mahdi ajalallah ta'ala faraj sharif, and for us inshallah to understand these holy verses and to be able to apply them to our daily lives. If you have followed us, we have started Surah Al-Baqarah. Alhamdulillah, we were blessed to finish Surah Al-Hamd. We started Surah Al-Baqarah. We discussed the first ayah, which was Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim already when we started Surah Al-Hamd. And then we talked about Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, that the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guidance for those who are pious. And the verses after come and they explain the meaning and they elaborate who are those pious people, what are their characteristics, because we want to be amongst the pious people in order for the Holy Quran to inshallah guide us. We started with the first characteristic, which was الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Pious people who are being guided by the Holy Quran are those people who believe in unseen, who believe in the unseen, number one. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ, that's number two, and they maintain the prayer. And وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, and they spend out of what we have provided for them. Believing in unseen, it's one of the most important elements that divides and differentiates between the believer and the non-believer. A believer doesn't have a myopic vision and view to this life. And they don't see this world to be complete without believing in something else. They're not limited to this world, to this globe, to this universe that we are living in. They see beyond and they believe in beyond this globe, which makes them different than those who don't believe in unseen, and the only thing that they believe are those that they can feel, taste, hear or see, basically where their five senses are involved. So the believers, they are connected to infinite. They're not limited, as we said, to this world. Rather, there are different worlds. This alam al-shuhud, or we can see and witness, and then we have alam al-barzakh. After we die, we enter into another world. Before this world, we were in our mother's womb. Before that, we were in alam al-dhar. There are different worlds that we are traveling to, one after one, from and to, one after one after one after one. But the believer believes that after death there is alam which is called barzakh. After that alam, it's another alam which comes the day of qiyamah, the day of judgment, alam al-qiyamah, where all the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be there and they will go through judgment, and inshallah all of us will be from those people who will receive our book of our deeds in our right hand, and we will be happy and inshallah will enter heaven, and not amongst those people who will receive their book of deeds by their left hands from their back, and they will be thrown into the hellfire. So a believer doesn't believe that came to this world just to live this world and have fun and to be entertained, reproduce, eat, work, gain, and by the time of death everything finishes. No, believer has much higher goal and much higher purpose in this life. They see beyond this world, and they are not limited to this world and to this worldly affairs. That's why their price, we can't put a price on a believer. People who are really dedicated they are dedicating their lives to the worldly affairs, well, that's how much they're worth. No matter how much money they have, well, that's how much they're worth. Billions of dollars, 100 billions of dollars, 200 billions, well, that's how much they're worth. But a believer who believes in the unseen and who believes in the heaven and the infinite rewards and the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give to a believer in heaven, well, that connection will inspire the believer to do right and to avoid falsehood and bad doing. Within Muttaqeen, there's a beautiful sermon by the commander of the faithful, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, within Nahj al-Balagha, which I really recommend. That will be, inshallah, our action plan for this episode. That if you get a chance, amongst narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam that you are reading, if you remember, let us remind ourselves that of our action plans from the previous early episodes was that, inshallah, on a daily basis, we have the Quran next to us and a book of hadith, either Nahj al-Balagha or Tuhaf al-Uqul that we have introduced. We read a 50 verses of the Holy Quran, and then we read a translation of those 50 verses, and then we take one verse and we think and ponder about it. Inshallah, by the end of the year, 365 verses of the Holy Quran we have read, we have understood, and we have comprehended, and we have brought into our lives, and we'll see how much it changes our lives. And the second was, after that we read one narration from the lives of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and we think and ponder of how to bring that narration into our lives. Amongst those narrations that we read is a good sermon to read, sermon of Muttaqeen, Khutbatul Muttaqeen, by the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, where his companion comes to him, Hammam, and tells him, "Oh Imam, describe for me a pious individual." So I describe it in a way that I can see it, basically, that I can completely imagine that this is a pious person where Allah wants us to be that. That by itself, that sermon needs at least 30 to 45 episodes, elaborating it, discussing it, and basically tafsir of that takes a long time, but I have took a segment from it that it's very beautiful. Imam mentions that a pious individual, the way he clothes himself, the way he talks, the way he walks, and so on and so forth. He gives a very, very specific characteristics and the demeanor of the pious individual. Amongst them are two that I have brought it, which relates to الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ, because we want to understand what would really mean we have to be a believer in unseen in order for us to be pious, in order for the Quran to guide us. Imam says, وَالْجَنَّةُ كَمَنْ قَدْ رَآهَا فَهُمْ فِيهَا مُنَعَّمُونَ وَهُمْ وَالنَّارُ كَمَنْ قَدْ رَآهَا فَهُمْ فِيهَا مُعَذَّبُونَ. Imam says, pious individual, a pious believer, is a person, وَالْجَنَّةُ كَمَنْ قَدْ رَآهَا. Everything good that he does, within the interpretation of it, basically, we're elaborating it, everything that he does good, he sees the heaven in front of him, and that's what pushes him forward in doing good deeds. Because good deeds sometimes becomes very difficult to apply into our lives. When a person, it's making us angry, for us to be able to control our anger, that is a good deed. Well, a pious individual sees heaven in front of him, not the physical, but he believes that much in heaven, that by me controlling my anger and my temper, this is where I'm going to end up, heaven. فَهُمْ فِيهَا مُنَعَّمُونَ. They're already enjoying the heaven. They don't lie. They don't cheat. They don't use bad language. They don't listen to music. They control their ears and their eyes and their body parts. Everything wajibat that they have to do, they do act upon those wajibat. And all the muharramat and forbidden acts, they distance themselves from those acts because they can see the reward of abstaining themselves from sin. So that's how they are motivated, like with their eyes, that's how what they see. وَهُمْ وَالنَّارُ كَمَنْ قَدْ رَآهَا فَهُمْ فِيهَا مُعَذَّبُونَ. And as soon as it comes to a sin, and they're about to commit a sin, they see the hellfire, and they see the flame of hellfire, and that's how much they feared the flame of hellfire, and they abstain themselves from committing the sin. This is a characteristic of a pious individual, which is very, very important. It needs practice. Everything that we talk, it needs practice, and without practice, it won't happen, basically. So that needs for us to keep on a daily basis to remind ourselves of where we are within this life. Are we proceeding forward? Are we on the path that we truly believe in unseen? Or no, we do say that we believe in unseen, but when it comes into our action, we have some difficulties. For example, believing in unseen. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi states, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله اعبدوا الله كأنك تراه. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that you see Him. We all understand this is not it is figurative talk. It's not haqiqi, it's not the true meaning that, okay, pray, because we cannot see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is obvious. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, abudullah ka'annaka, is as you see Him. Of course we don't see Allah again, but if we were able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let's make it tangible. If the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is here and we can see Him, the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi, may Allah hasten his reappearance. If we can see this Imam of ours and he's here, basically, how do I will pray? Will my prayer will be different or not? Of course. I will make sure that my pronunciation of every word is right. I make sure that my wudu is right. I make sure that everything that I do is right because the Imam is seeing me. Bring it a little bit lower. The representative of the Imam, our maraja al-taqleed. If grant Ayatollah X was standing here and it was my room and I was praying, or I'm about to commit a sin, will I commit it or not? How I will pray, how I will control my anger, and so on and so forth. All the obligatory acts we're discussing, we're just bringing some examples, and all the muharramat and forbidden acts. So, اعبد الله كأنك تراه. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you see Him. فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. If you are not able to see Him, He is seeing you. So that needs a reminder. How I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My prayer, my respect to others, my respect to parents, my respect to brothers and sisters, to community members, to co-workers, classmates, and so on and so forth. If I see myself in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is seeing, and not only what I do, He knows of my intention. If my intention was sincerely for Him or other, it will be completely different scenario. That believing unseen will really change, it will really change our perspective to this world. For example, believing in unseen, we go unseen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His attributes. For example, we read the 99 names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Aziz, the mighty one, the strong, the defeater who is not defeated. Well, Al-Aziz, the one who gives honor and mighty, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has Almighty belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I am within my community. If I believe truly in unseen, I shouldn't think that money, wealth, position will give me honor and mighty. Rather, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that gives me mighty and honor. How will that change my perspective in life? How that will change my characteristic in life? If I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes me aziz, makes me mighty and honorable and dignifies me, and that dignity comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will respect people, because with respecting people, I will gain dignity, not with showing arrogance that I have these belongings. That's what believing in unseen changes in our perspective. Ar-Razzaq, the total provider. If I believe, again, remember our previous episode, that belief is in heart, and then it comes into our action, in our verbally, tongue and then our action. That if I truly and genuinely and sincerely believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider, I won't steal. I won't have usury within my day-to-day transaction at work. I won't be trying to mix halal and haram money together for me to have more rizq. I won't look at the other people's sustenance that they have received. I won't be envying them, because I truly believe in the unseen, which unseen is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Razzaq. He's the provider. The same Allah that He provided for the other person, He will provide for me. Why should I need to be envying that person? I won't. When I see somebody has something that I don't have, I say, Alhamdulillah, oh Allah, the same way that you gave him, also give me. Allah is the provider. He is the provider. When I do something for other people, I will do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will provide. And the rest of the 99 names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that would be another action plan. Go through them, the 99 attributes. Read them, ponder and think about them. How should I bring those 99 names into my life, that I should not envy other people, that I should truly believe that Allah is the provider and He will provide for me. That will definitely change my life, inshaAllah. We conclude our this episode by reciting the dua al-Faraj, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the appearance of our beloved Imam Mahdi ajalallah ta'ala faraj al-sharif, which is the most important dua. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kun li waliyika al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.